Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. There's no astrology in these, so check them out for all three so that you know which one or which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. With that said, remember they're general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, just a quick note, if you haven't joined the Radiant Nation Facebook group, where we're going to be having lots of talks and discussions about various different things coming up, you want to get on the link in the description box below. And if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves your Taurus, the bones off of your Taurus horns. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. For your key to the week, you have the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energies. I wonder as well, if I'm not mistaken, I think you might have had this same card last week. Which is very, very interesting to me because this, so, you know, if we've got a double up and a follow on from the week previous, it means that this is a time of immense change for you, right? And for a couple of reasons. I know, I said there was no astrology in these, but there is a consideration happening in the sky at the moment that we do need to think about. This is eclipse season. There are two eclipses taking place. One of them is going to be happening literally this week. And what really strikes me is the eclipse that's happening on the 14th is a new moon solar eclipse that's happening in the sign of Libra. Libra is a Venus-ruled sign. You are a sign that's ruled by Venus. At the end of the month, on the 28th of October, we're going to have the final full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus, in your sign. That is also a Venus-ruled sign, and it's a you-ruled sign. So this, for me, kind of speaks volumes, right? The fact that you've got so much of this Fool card energy, new things, new places, new people, new energy, new life directions are showing up. The other thing is as well, sometimes with the Fool card, aside from just new things or people showing up, sometimes this shows us where we need to invert our reality, where there's something that's happening in our world or in our lives, something that we do, you know, almost by habit, that we need to shift or we need to change in some regard. And so when it comes to your actions and options, you've got the Ace or the Page of Pentacles. So it's the Princess of Pentacles in this deck. And for your actions, this means that this is about you getting started on a new project. This is about you embarking on something that you feel is a soul calling, is a soul message in some way, shape or form. This is about you moving ahead, or at least your actions starting to align where you think that the highest vision or version of your life and self are actually coming into being. This for a lot of you could be where you are starting that business, where you are starting that side hustle, or where you're starting to put time, effort and energy into the things that you feel are really linked to what your purpose is this time round on the merry-go-round, right? Now, when it comes to the options that are available to you, this is practical application. So what you're being encouraged to do here is to really get started on the practical steps of whatever it is that you're trying to build. So then you've got the Five of Wands, right? And this shows up for you in the communications and conversations. You've ever heard the saying, too many cooks spoil the broth? This could absolutely be this week. So you are being encouraged in some way, shape or form to think about how much information you take on board, especially where a new idea or endeavor is concerned. The reason I say this is not that someone's going to sow seeds of doubt, although that is a possibility, right? And when we're doing something new, one of the reasons a lot of people don't start something new is because they don't want to be ridiculed, right? And we see this a lot actually with when people are learning new languages, because languages are repetition and memory. The problem is a lot of people don't want to sound silly when they say the words. So it's like, oh, well, I'd rather just not try. This looks to me like something new that you're embarking on, that Page of Pentacles with the Fool card. You know there are going to be moments where maybe you don't get it right. Maybe you get it a little bit wrong. Maybe you take, you know, the wrong step or the wrong avenue. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all experience. That Five of Wands in your communications suggests that there's potentially someone around you who's like, they don't want to see you make moves. So it's easier to kind of say like, oh, well, you know, what if it doesn't work? Or what if you make a mistake? Or what if you mess up? Maybe it's coming from a place of love. Very often it's coming from a place of guilt and shame about what they know that they can't do. Don't let that get in the way of your stuff this week. Also, Five of Wands for communications. This is a conflict card. There's something here or someone here potentially that is diametrically opposed to whatever it is that you're trying to do or to create for yourself, because it means that they have to shift. Now, when it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, for those of you that are studying, this could be a project that you're having to work in a group on, whether you want to or not, that gets a little bit crowded, or it's like too many people are trying to take the reins. My advice to you, dear Taurus, would be to hang back, let everybody act like a moron, and when they all decide that this is going nowhere, then volunteer your leadership skills. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, I would say the same thing, and I'm also going to say beware of the red mist this week. It will be really easy for those of you that are employed by somebody else. There's going to be a lot of outrage about something this week, and a lot of people have an opinion on something that's going on. It's wise for you not to get swept up in it, right? The red mist, everybody else is outraged, so I'm going to be outraged too, so that I can be a part of the herd. This is one of those weeks where you kind of want to go against that instinct, because as quickly as it dies down, as long as the memory is going to be of the people who were like, oh, well, you know, everybody said this in the heat of the moment and da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not going to be let go as easily as people think it will be. So just stay out of it. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, you've got some good, stiff, healthy competition this week. There is someone or some situation when it comes to your work sphere that is going to do one of two things. It's either going to challenge you and you'll be like, well, there's no point. They've already got it sewn up, so I'm just going to quit. Or you are going to find those big boy panties or big girl panties, right? And you are going to make something happen. This is a good stiff bout of competition that is going to light a fire under your tush. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, it looks like you're needing to change your perspective on your hobbies. You might, you know, the reason I say this, it's almost like, let's say one of your hobbies is yoga. Maybe a teacher approaches you and says, look, you know, you could be really good at this, and if you were to really push it, you might actually end up being able to be a teacher in this. Are you interested? There's something here where someone's pushing you to get more out of a hobby, or to see it as more of a hobby, more than a hobby, which I think is kind of cool. For those of you, when it comes to your love and relations, you've got the Judgment card. Look, for those of you that are single, especially for those of you that are newly single, out of a difficult or a challenging relationship, there's going to be some harsh words this week. There's no getting around it. It's the Judgment with the Five of Wands, and this is likely to be an argument or an issue that has been a recurring problem with this person. So it's like something comes to light and you're like, ah, okay, now I understand why you always said this when we were together. So it could be a realization in that regard, but it gives you the fire that you need to move on. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, there is unfortunately a recurring issue or argument that's coming up this week. There's going to be a flare-up with it. And because of that Page of Pentacles, it's likely to have a practical or a financial slant to it. And because you've got the Fool card here flavoring the whole thing, your message really looks like find a different perspective. You might actually find that if you can see things, not agree with, right? Not having to agree with, but if you can see things from your partner's perspective, it might actually help you find some common ground with where you're at, all right? You don't have to agree with it. You just have to understand it. And I kind of feel like that's where the issue is. It's like there's something that you just can't see eye to eye on because nobody's looking at it from the other person's perspective. For your money and materials, you've got the King of Wands. So a fire sign male, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, is likely to feature as this. Now, the King of Wands, this is about you being demonstrative in what makes you a badass with your job, your work, your profession, in order to ask for that pay rise or go after more money. For some of you, this could be the entrepreneurial push that you need to strike out on your own. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the King of Wands is very much about the head. And I gotta say, with the Fool card here as well, there is a new fire sign person coming into your world that is likely to turn it upside down, but in the best kind of way. When it comes to your health, for a lot of you, you might start to really think about, you know, your mental health. You might start to really think, you know what, I'm going to see a therapist, I'm going to see a counselor. You've got this opposite the Judgment card. So this is something that's been a problem or an issue that has come up for a lot in your life, or potentially pertaining to or relating to something in your personal history. And it's like, by addressing this now, from this new advantage or perspective, things really start to shift. And then finally, when it comes to your home and environment, the King of Wands, when it comes to the home, is about defense. It's really about you owning and commanding your space and drawing some firm lines, you know. Yes, that sounds very much like the Queen of Wands, but this King of Wands is telling me that same message as well. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.